Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Welcome to my monthly stream for March. So happy to have everyone here. So, today's March stream or monthly stream for the month of March, such a mouthful to say, is basically all about my cat. I don't know why I had gotten a lot of requests regarding my cat, but I thought, you know what? I gotta give the people what they want. So I might as well go ahead and do it. So before we get into that today, and as more people are trickling into the stream, as you may or may not know, especially if you are a sports fan, you'll definitely know March Madness has kicked off. So I have filled out my bracket. I have Arizona winning, and I am curious to know if you are in the stream and if you've made a bracket. Let me know in the chat who you have winning. I'd be curious to know. Today has not been a good day for my bracket. The only game that has done well for me so far was Creighton versus Kansas, where I had Kansas beating Creighton. And then everyone else has disappointed me today. I was supposed to have Tennessee beating Michigan. That didn't work out. I was supposed to have U of R beating Providence. That also didn't work out. And then I believe I was supposed to have Baylor beat UNC, and that didn't work out. So the bracket is not doing very well. So, Richard, I dyed my roots back to a darker color, but I still have the purple, as you can see. I've just kind of gone back more to an ombre. I wasn't really feeling the blue on the roots of my head anymore. And I was kind of missing a little bit of my dark hair, but I still wanted color. And yeah, I decided, you know what? Why not do both? So don't worry, I still have colored hair. It's just not fully purple like it used to be anymore, as it was also kind of damaging my hair a little bit, and I just needed to go easy on my roots. So that is why the roots of my hair are dark again. So, with that being said, this stream is all about my cat, Elsa. And if we do have time at the end of the chat, or not at the end of the chat, at the end of the stream, depending how long it takes me to talk about Elsa, then I will be happy to answer questions about what it's like to be a YouTuber. And if we do run out of time, then maybe I'll just save that for my next stream, so we can make that a whole nother video. But for the time being, this is all about my cat. Funny enough, my cat is not on the bed with me. So basically, this is the story of my cat. And I want to say that I absolutely love my cat. As you know, Elsa plays a huge role into my videos, and she's always video bombing me with her meows. She is always making an appearance. She loves to be the center of attention whenever I'm filming, or even when I'm recording podcasts. You'll always hear that loud Siamese cat meow in the background. There's just no way to escape it. She's gonna do what she's gonna do, and that's that. So she plays a big part in my channel, and people really enjoy seeing her in my videos. And I feel like I haven't really made enough videos just solely dedicated to my cat. Recently, I did do a video where we played Cards Against Humanity together, and that was super frustrating because there were times where she definitely did not cooperate, but it was still a really funny video, and I'm glad I made it because people definitely do enjoy seeing her. Okay, so let's go back to the year 2014 when I first adopted my cat. So I was in grad school. I went to the University of Kentucky. Very sore subject, as they lost their game the other day. Not the point, but still wanted to give a shout out to the other cats that I worship, the Kentucky cats. Anyway, so I was entering grad school. I was living in Lexington, Kentucky, And I knew when I was looking for apartments that I wanted to be in a pet friendly apartment building because I knew that I really wanted to get a cat. So in 2013, yeah, it was 2013. So I was 21 years old before my senior year of college started. My childhood cat Sally died, and I was devastated, absolutely devastated. And it took me about a little over a year to move on and finish grieving. And so once I was going into grad school, I knew that I was going to be ready to have a cat, and it would be a cat of my own, not a cat that lived with my parents. It would be my cat. So moving into an apartment that would allow cats was going to be very important for me. So thankfully, there are plenty of pet friendly places in Lexington, Kentucky, to where I was going to be fine having a cat. My roommate knew that I wanted to get a cat. He was perfectly fine with it. We talked about it beforehand. Like, I very well knew that when I moved to Kentucky that I was going to be getting a cat. So the way that I was searching for cats was a website called Pet Finder. You may or may not be familiar with it, but that is what I was using to look for cats to adopt. And I knew that I wanted a Siamese cat. I have always had Siamese cats growing up, and they just are pretty much some of the best cats that you can possibly have. They're very loving, they're affectionate, they're talkative, they're beautiful cats. They're just all around awesome. So I knew for me that was what I personally wanted. And so I was browsing on Pet Finder, and originally I wanted a boy cat. And it was tough because there weren't a lot of cute male kitties out there that I was resonating with. A lot of them are more like mixed Siamese. They weren't like your typical regular Siamese cats. And I was having a hard time finding a male Siamese cat that I felt very drawn to. And I only knew that I didn't want to travel more than like 2 hours to go get a cat. So I had set the border for, or my mile radius, I think for like less than 150 miles or something like that. I didn't want to do too much traveling just to get a cat. So there was this one cat that I absolutely was very drawn to. She was about 1 year old, and her name was Suki. And she was based out of Ohio, just some random city in Ohio, I think close to Cincinnati. And I finally called the shelter to inquire about her. And this cat, Suki, had been on Pet Finder's website for a while. And I just assumed that when I would finally was ready to take the plunge and put in a request about this cat, that she was going to be mine. And of course, when I call in to inquire about this cat, someone has already filed paperwork to adopt this cat. And I was really sad, and I decided that, okay, you know what? It just wasn't meant to be. I'll look for another cat. I will get into the name Why Elsa in just a little bit and how she got her name. So I was scrolling on Pet Finder, and I just was not resonating with any of these Siamese kitties on there. And there really still weren't any good kitties that were males. And then I come across a picture of a Siamese kitten, white as snow with brown points, and the cat's name is Elsa. And I thought, and I said, okay, I really wasn't contemplating on getting a kitten. I really wanted to get a cat that was at least 1 year old and that was going to be a boy. But I saw this picture and I thought, okay, this is a very stinking cute cat. It's very young. Her name's Elsa. Okay, let's put in a request to learn more. So I filled out an inquiry to learn more about the cat. and they contacted me pretty much immediately and said that she could be adopted next weekend. It would be $100 adoption fee, and I would have to go out to Louisville, Kentucky to get her. So I said, okay, that's totally fine. I can pay $100. I can easily drive out to Louisville. I live in Lexington, and they're about like an hour and 15 minutes away from each other. So it's not a far drive at all. And so I was like, okay, what do I need to do? So they made me fill out an application. I had to do a background check to make sure I'm not an animal abuser. And I got approved pretty quickly. And so there it was. The deal was ready. I was going to Louisville the following weekend to pick up this cat. So I had to buy all this stuff and I bought the carrier. I was ready to go. So to answer the question that Richard asked, why the name Elsa? Well, Elsa was the name that the rescue had called her, and I honestly thought that the name was very fitting, and I personally didn't want to change it. So it's not from Born Free, it's from Frozen. So if you remember Queen Elsa from Frozen, for any those who have watched Frozen, that is where she got the name from, because I asked. Because Frozen got popular around like 2013, definitely when I was, I think, a senior in college. And I had asked the rescue, and they said, yes, she was named after Frozen. Go figure, right? But I was asked if I was going to keep the name, and I said, you know what? I am going to keep the name. I think it fits her very well. For a little Siamese kitten, I thought, this is a great name, actually. It's not something stupid that you would find on Pet Finder, because Pet Finder has some pretty awful names regarding pets, whether it's a dog or a cat or any kind of animal. There's some terrible names out there. So I felt like Elsa, it was just a good name, and she was probably responding to that name. And I didn't want to confuse her and change her name on her. So that is how the name Elsa came to be. So yeah, funny enough, I didn't name her. And it's just great how that worked out in the end. So Elsa was about 11 or 12 weeks old when I got her. So they said that her birthday was around like the second week in June. So I just ended up picking June 13th as her birthday. We did the math on when she was potentially born. So I have a little Gemini kitty, and she definitely fits the Gemini cat astrology very well. Gemini cats are typically very playful and chatty and outgoing, and that fits my cat very well. So anyway, so the first few days with Elsa was a lot on her. Her first day was very hard. She was very scared. She was hissing at me a lot as a little kid. And so if you see the picture of her on the thumbnail, the one on the left, you will see that she is hiding behind my bathroom toilet, and she has a squinty eye. So when I got her, I found out that she had gotten into a fight with another cat, and another cat scratched her eye. And so they had sent me home with some medication. So I had to give her some cream to put in her eye, and she medicates very well. Like, she doesn't fight you when you try to medicate her. She doesn't squirm. She's pretty well behaved. So she did very well when I had to medicate her, and they told me how long that I needed to put this eye cream in her eyes so her eye would heal properly. So that was like one downside that kind of took me by surprise, because I was not expecting my cat to have eye problems, but she just had ended up getting into a fight with someone before I got her. Another thing that I need to mention about Elsa that I totally forgot is that Elsa has a bit of a sad story. So, what I was told from the rescue, I got her from Operation Catnip in Kentucky, and they said that they found my poor little baby Elsa in a sewer. She was very young. She was not with her litter or her mom. She was all alone. I don't know how she ended up in a sewer, but that is where they found her. And when she was found, they took her in and they took care of her, and she was in foster care. And so that is pretty much like the sad thing about my cat, is that she was a feral cat when they first got her. And it probably explains a lot for her current behavior. And I will talk a little bit about Elsa's behavior because we need to talk about that, because there are some things that you don't necessarily know or see from Elsa when you see her like butchering my videos and just trying to get all the attention, because she has an attitude. So going back to the first day when I got her, she had the squinty eye. She was hiding behind the toilet. I tried to approach her and she was hissing at me a ton. I'm like, great, I have a hisser. You know what? I'm going to make you love me. You're going to love me. I'm going to love you. It's going to be all fine. So I gave her her space. I was really sad that I couldn't do much with her for the first few hours because she was terrified, but she immediately knew where her litter box was. So that wasn't a problem. And she was perfectly fine going to find where her food was. She found the basket of toys. So everything was set up for her, and she was able to find everything just okay. But I had to give her her space. So maybe it was about a few hours. Elsa decides to come out. She's very scared. She's wandering around my apartment, and I had some toys, and I thought to myself, okay, let me try playing with her. And Elsa was feeling it. She started to open up just a tiny bit and she started playing, and it was really great. Oh, she's so cute. Little baby Elsa. The videos that I have of Elsa from when she was a kid, and a lot of them got deleted. They were like from 2014 when I had a really old iPhone. So there's like one video that I have that I posted on an older video from a few months ago where I talked about 30 things that I learned in 30 years. I do have that video of Elsa playing when she was a kid and on there if you want to see like the little tiny clip of it. So yeah, she's so cute. Oh, she was so cute as a kitten. She was just all white with brown points. And then she got darker over time. So that's the thing with seal point Siamese cats, is they start off white with brown points on their ears, their tails, and legs, and then the rest of their fur will darken up. So she's a seal point Siamese cat, and she very much looks like one. So it probably wasn't until when she was one is when the colors really, really, really came in, and she was starting to fully become an adult cat. So the second day, Elsa was still kind of hiding. There was one day where she scared me because I couldn't find her anywhere in my room. And eventually I found out that she was hiding under a pillow. And I want to say it took Elsa maybe about 3 full days for her to warm up, for her to come out of hiding, for her to start trusting me and trusting my roommate. And then, after that, we became very close. And even though Elsa was scared on her first night, she did sleep with me. So I felt like once things settled down during the night, she became a lot more comfortable and she was ready to cuddle. And I was told that Elsa was very, very affectionate and loving. And I was very excited about that. Because my old cat, Sally, she was a very nice cat, but she wasn't very affectionate. Like, she was never really a cuddler. She never really would sit on your lap. She would sleep next to you. Like, she would always sleep with me whenever I was home or when I was a kid, but she was not really a lap cat. She also wasn't a very playful cat. So I was very excited about Elsa just because I was getting a cat that looked exactly like my old cat, but the personalities were completely different. Completely different. Like, Elsa is way more playful, more cuddly and affectionate, but Elsa also has some weird behavioral problems. So I'll get it, like I said, I will get into that in a little bit, but throughout my term in grad school, so we were there for 2 years living in Kentucky. So we moved out of Kentucky when she was 2 years old. Yeah, because I moved out of Kentucky August 2016 and she had turned 2 June of that year. So anyway, Elsa was never really a hisser until she met a dog for the first time. So the only time that I had heard my cat hiss was the day that I got her, but she was a kitten. I had never seen adult cat or adult Elsa hiss. And so that is when she had met a dog. My roommate had brought his parents' old dog over for a night. And so Elsa met the old dog. He was like a 15-year-old. What is it? Like a little schnauzer terrier type dog. And oh my God, Elsa just threw a hissing storm at him and she tried swatting at him. And the dog just looked at her, being like, ruff, ruff, ruff. And then she just ran away. So I hadn't heard my cat hiss since she was little. She never really hissed. Like Elsa was always such a happy cat. There was never a reason for her to get angry and upset. So yeah, that was basically what happened there. And then when we moved out, Elsa threw a tantrum when I had to move. She definitely didn't like that. We were moving all the furniture out of the apartment. She didn't know what was going on. And when it came to putting her in the carrier, she threw a fit. And Elsa does not like being in the carrier. Oh my God, she gets so dramatic and throws a tantrum when you try to get her in a carrier. She is horrible. Absolutely horrible. So, yeah, other than that, I had her staying with my parents and myself for about a month or so when I was looking for my first job out of grad school. Elsa loves visiting my parents and she loves running around the big house. There's always like hiding spots for her, things for her to explore. And yeah, it's a great paradise for a kitty. So when we moved to California, Elsa's behavior problems started to kick in. And I think some of it had to do with the fact that she had to live with 2 other cats. And I had a feeling that Elsa was not going to do well with other animals. She definitely seemed like she was a one pet type of cat. And part of that theory was because of the fight that she had gotten into when I had first gotten her. So it made me kind of believe that she wasn't going to get along with other animals. So she did not like living with the 2 cats that we had to move in with. There was this one cat who was a big Highland Lynx. He was a big boy. He's a sweet kitty. Oh, he's the sweetest cat. But he bullied my cat. He would attack her. He would always be creeping at my door, waiting for me to come out and trying to slide in and try to like attack my cat. So I always had to spray the cat with a water bottle to get him to run away so he wouldn't run into my room. But every single time that I had to leave my room, because Elsa had to stay in my room the whole time because she just was getting into altercations with the male cat, who was just a year younger than her. And it was sad because so the first 6 months we were living in San Francisco, poor Elsa could not roam the apartment because this cat kept bullying her. And I just did it for her safety. So by like the saving grace of the gods, my roommate's brother ended up taking the cat because she was also going to be moving out of the apartment the same time that I was, since our lease was expiring. And I also knew that apartment was not going to be my first home in San Francisco. So my roommate's brother took the cat. And so once Apollo, that was his name, was removed from the apartment, then it was safer for Elsa to roam around. Elsa still didn't get along with the other cat, but they didn't get into altercations. They maintained space. They did hiss at each other. They definitely didn't like each other, but there weren't altercations between them and nothing ever got physical, which is why I was fine with Elsa being around the other cat, just because I knew that she was going to be a lot safer. She definitely wasn't going to be happier because she still had to deal with another cat, but at least like she could not be trapped in one room. So that was really nice. But I want to say from there on out, I think those two cats kind of ruined roommates and meeting other people for Elsa. Elsa started to develop some behavior and aggression issues because of her trauma of being attacked by this cat. And so when we moved into our apartment in the Sunset in San Francisco, Elsa didn't have to deal with any other cats. I was able to beg the landlords to let me have my cat there. So it worked out very well for me. And she was the only pet, but she would still hiss at my roommates because she would just associate them with probably like another cat. And I had to explain to my cat, stop hissing. There are no other pets here. You need to calm down. So she hisses at everybody. It is embarrassing. And I'm honestly just kind of over it at this point. So I'm actually taking Elsa to the vet next month when I'm going to be in Richmond. My best friend works at a veterinary clinic. So vets are a lot cheaper in Virginia. And obviously, Elsa's going to be coming with me since I'm going to be gone from Portland for a month. So it just made sense to just take Elsa to the vet there and we can see if maybe just my cat has anxiety because I think my cat does have a lot of strong anxiety. And I also want to see like if the anxiety meds don't work for her, then my friend has a recommendation for a veterinary or not for a veterinary office, for a cat behaviorist so we can identify these aggressive behaviors. So Elsa may seem like the sweet, cuddly kitty, but when it comes to other people, she's not very friendly. Like, she will hiss at you, especially if you get in her space when I'm not around. She won't bite you or attack you, but she's gonna hiss at you. She's gonna feel threatened by you. And she didn't used to be like this. And I think these behaviors happened when she was younger. We weren't living in California. So I do want to blame the traumatic incidents that she's had with other cats and her being around other cats. She's been around a couple of other cats that we've done or that we've dealt with in other living situations. So when I was living in the Haight, my roommate had a cat and they didn't get along. So thankfully, that cat stayed in my roommate's room a good chunk of the time, so she was never really out that much. But when she was out, I would make sure that my cat wasn't out so they wouldn't get into fights. Because when they were both out, they definitely got into altercations. And I just, for the sake of the safety for both of them, it was best to keep them separated. And then when I was subletting my friend's place for a little bit, I had another roommate of mine who had a cat, but he was a wimp. He's the sweetest boy, by the way. God bless you, Atticus. He was a cute boy. He was terrified of Elsa, so they never got into fights. But Elsa still didn't like him because she still feels threatened by any other animal. So there would be hissing on her side, but he never hissed at her. He would just pretty much run away and maintain space. Yes, I've flown with Elsa plenty of times. So Elsa has been on a plane more than I can even count. So Elsa's very used to traveling. And what's interesting is that even though Elsa hates being in a carrier, she is very good about calming down and being on an airplane and not meowing. So if you ever want to know how to travel with a cat, let's say if you have a cat but you've never traveled with them and flown them on an airplane, here are some great things that you should know prior to your trip. One thing that you should know is it's really important that you call your airline in advance so they can reserve a spot for your cat, meaning like they just have the space for your cat because some airlines can accept a certain amount of pets on one plane. And that's actually something that I need to do because I'm actually going back to Virginia, not this coming week, but next Thursday. So I need to call American and make sure that they know that my cat's going to be on the plane. And I really recommend getting a soft carrier. I personally like the backpacks that you can put your cats in. I got a new carrier for my cat, and it's basically like a backpack, and it's just a lot easier to maneuver my cat around the airport. I used to have like a carrier that was soft and I would have it around like my shoulder, like I was wearing a purse. But I discovered my cat hated that carrier. It didn't have a lot of support, and that's probably why she would always throw a tantrum, because she hated that carrier so much. And then when we had to travel to Virginia back in September for a funeral that we had to go there was a death in my family, and I had to bring my cat with me. I had this backpack carrier, and it was just so much better. So much better to just maneuver around the airport. And I definitely recommend um packing like a bowl of water, or not like a bowl of water, but you have a bowl for water, and then have like a bag of cat food in like a Ziploc bag. Some people will bring like a portable litter box. I don't bring a portable litter box with me because a lot of airports have an indoor pet relief center, and I am perfectly fine with my cat just like peeing or pooping on like those astroturfs, but she's too scared to go to the bathroom at that point. Fear basically calms her down. She's too scared and stressed out to eat. So I also recommend having your cat on a leash and a harness. So anytime I do travel with Elsa, she's on a harness and a leash in the carrier. So when I have to take her through security, I have to take her out of the bag and I have to hold her in security. And then they make me go under the, I guess, the metal detector bridge, not the one that you like raise your arms up like this and it turns around. They won't let you do that with a cat. So you go to the one that you walk right under. And that's that. And that's basically how you go through security with a cat. Some people have always wanted to know how that works. So that's how you do it. And so, yeah, like the cat's on a leash and a harness. So she won't have to like bolt. I'll have control over her. But thankfully, she's so scared that she just clings to me. Sometimes she'll dig the nails into me. Sometimes she won't. But she just knows not to leave my sight when we go through security. But yeah, I mean, she travels very well, even though she's scared as shit when it's happening. But I mean, yeah, she's very quiet on the plane. She doesn't meow. She sleeps and she is a good girl. So definitely take advantage of pet relief stations. Make sure you have a harness and a leash for your cat. That's going to be super important. Make sure you have a good carrier that will be comfortable for you and your kitty. That's going to be so important. It's the beautiful thing about cats. So, cats are very low maintenance and they're super easy to take care of. And I will say, I've always wanted a dog, but dogs are very hard to take care of. I think it'd be a lot easier for me to have a dog if I was living with a significant other, and it can be a shared responsibility because dogs are super needy and they're a lot of work, and you have to take them out a few times a day. And I feel like with my energy levels and my ADHD, I feel like I would be a terrible dog owner and I would not enjoy going on lots of walks with my dog. Not to say that I don't enjoy walks, I do, but I feel like having and owning a dog would really it would wear me down. So having a dog with a partner and having it be a shared responsibility would be so much easier and better because again, dogs are hard. I think we all know that dogs are hard. And I think it takes a special disciplined kind of person to own a dog. So I want to say, like, if you feel like you want to own a pet, but you don't want to do a lot of work, I definitely recommend getting a cat. The only thing that you really need to worry about is just feeding it every day, making sure that you're stocked up on cat food, you're changing its water bowl, and that you're cleaning out the box frequently and buying cat litter. You could get a tiny dog, but it's the same thing though. Like a dog, regardless of the dog is still going to have to get walked. You're still going to have to give it a lot of attention. And I just think a dog of any size, like it's still going to be a lot of work. I mean, I would love to have a golden retriever. I love those dogs so much. They're like my favorite kind of dogs. I also wouldn't mind getting a pug because I feel like pugs and golden retrievers would be the best kinds of dogs that do well with cats. Because I will say, let's say I eventually get married and Elsa is still alive. I know that we'll probably get a dog and Elsa's gonna have to deal. Like, she's gonna have to get over it, and we're gonna have to find ways to get her to be less averse and scared of dogs so she can be more comfortable and confident around them. And I think a pug or a golden retriever would be some of the best dogs to have that typically do well with cats. So, yeah, anyway, that I'm trying to think if that's really all I have to say about Elsa. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can add. I think right now Elsa is sleeping underneath my sofa at the moment. I'm surprised she's not here on the bed with me, wanting to get all the attention in right now, but it is what it is. I mean, I've had just a lot of people like ask me about Elsa, and I know this is a very dead streaming day, but it's okay. Like, people can always go back and watch the replay so they can learn more about Elsa's story. A French bulldog. Oh my god, I love Frenchies. They're so cute. I totally wouldn't mind getting a Frenchie either. They're just so expensive, but they are great pups. So yeah, I would totally be open to getting a Frenchie. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's kind of like the story of Elsa and just like a little bit more about her. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that like I needed to mention, unless if anyone else has other questions regarding Elsa or just being a cat owner in general. Let me know in the chat. I'm happy to answer those questions because we still have a little bit of time left. And because this stream is a lot slower than I thought it was going to be tonight, I think I will just save the content creator questions for another video. And we can make this stream a little bit shorter this month. I'm totally fine with that, just because I also do have plans later tonight. So kind of works out in my favor. So if nobody has like any questions regarding like being a pet owner or learning more about like Elsa's story, then maybe I will just go ahead and wrap this one up a little bit earlier than normal. Some streams are going to be shorter than others, and that's okay. But I really do enjoy people for coming in and out on a Saturday night. I know March Madness is going on right now, so people might be distracted with basketball games, so that's always something. Do you find boyfriends allergic to dogs? I have not had to deal with any men that have dog allergies. My ex was not allergic to dogs. He liked dogs a ton. I know he actually has a dog. He's always grown up with cats. He had 3 cats growing up, and I know that he got a dog with him and his wife. But other guys that I've dated, I have never once heard of them being allergic to dogs. I have gone out with one guy who was allergic to cats, but he was still fine enough to be around a cat. He just couldn't like have a cat touch his face, or else he would break out in hives. But I will say I won't date guys that are allergic to cats. I definitely have gotten better at vetting guys with animal allergies, and it's not their fault. But unfortunately, like, if you're allergic to cats, it's not going to work out. You're not going to be able to come over to my place. You're probably not going to be living with me if we decide that we wanted to get married or live together in general. You don't deserve to be miserable, you know? I just can't date somebody that has pet allergies. It's not going to work for me. It's just not fair to them. It's not fair to me, and it's not fair to my cat. So it's just best for everyone involved that it's not pursued. So that's another little helpful tip. If you love animals and you know you want a pet one day, but your partner has severe allergies, you may want to reevaluate that relationship, because if an animal is something that you absolutely want and it's going to be a deal breaker for you in life, I don't recommend pursuing that relationship, because at the end of the day, it's going to make people miserable. And that's the last thing that I want for anyone. So hopefully that's common sense. And if not, I hope this knocks some sense into you, because you shouldn't be dealing with people who are allergic to things that you want in life. With that being said, I think I'm going to officially wrap it up here. Thank you for everyone who has stopped by and has chimed in, and for the people who have been asking me questions in the chat. I've definitely appreciated it. I definitely think March Madness has distracted people from tonight, and that's okay. I know weather, depending on where you live, like spring is starting. Thank goodness. We're starting to transition into warm weather finally. So, wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a great evening, and thank you for being here. Have a good one, y'all.